checking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark.
It's a Thursday here on the program. Hope you're well wherever you might be. Hit us up as we broadcast live from our Family Fencing Studios on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, in the chat room, or on the professional door text line 391-0788. We're loaded again today. And by that, I don't mean that we spent too much time at the bar area. But we are packing heat because David Smith joins us, our NFL correspondent, Andy Bitter, Tech Sideline. He's I liked it. He's got his Peter King tribute, 10 things that he thinks about Virginia Tech so far, football. That'll be good. We'll get into that. Todd Grantham from UAB camp. Go Blazers. Oh, I got a hat. I didn't get my hat. Damn. And Dwight Vick here today. What's going on, Low Country? Oh, wow, that's high company, my man. Jesus Coffee and Big Dog Sports. Wow. I'm honored. What's up, Jason? Aran, how are you? Jason, hello, Wisconsin. Excellent websites today. Let's hear it for quarterback Aaron Rodgers. He's back for another season with the Steelers, and thank God we don't have to put up with another year. I feel like he's going to get hurt early this year and not play much. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I don't wish that on him. I just have this vibe that I don't know if he's going to survive physically. Please subscribe, like, and share if you haven't already. And I could be completely off base with that assumption, but I feel like he's going to really struggle physically. What's up, CRC 289? CRC's no, I'm sorry. CR7289. See, that was 867-5349. 80s song. Sorry. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. Please subscribe. Come by anytime. What's up, Geese? What is going on, my man? Good to see you, Geese88. Awesome contributor. Is that Opal? Is the first lady chiming in? Good morning, Opal. What is going on with you? How have you been? Geese, that is Tommy Two-Tone. Tommy Two-Song sings 867-5349. 867-5349. Jenny, who can I turn to? Big hit for them. Big hit for the old Tommy Two-Tone. 865-309. 867-5309. Okay, now, sorry. I'm very sorry. I apologize greatly for going there, and now it's just, what's up, Prometheus? Bringer of the flame. Creed's sitting in a weird spot, so I'm just watching him over here. By the way, just the name Prometheus has more Greek correct lore than anything in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. Terrible movie. Just don't get it. Anyway. Yes, 2 more weeks. We're almost at week 0. We are getting there. Did I name my dog? No, Balboa is actually my kitty. I lost my dog several years ago, and I haven't gotten another one. Balboa is my rescue guy, and he has become the unofficial mascot. If he comes up here, I'll put him on camera. Come here, buddy. Come here. There you go. That guy. Yeah. You see how happy he is that I'm forcing him up here on camera? Yeah. Say goodbye to everybody. Say bye. Say goodbye. Okay. What's Opal says? I'm going to have that song stuck in my head all day. See? Jenny, Jenny, who can I turn to? You got that? You could sing Mickey, which was not a good song, but it was a popular song. The Fix, One Thing Leads to Another. I'm just trying to think of some 80s staples. Dexy's Midnight Runners. See there, Opal, you came back. You got to see Creed live on camera. Jesse's Girl. Oh, that's a great one. I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett, which is actually a remake of a song, but she did a great job with it. Love Joni Jett. I mean, we can go off on 80 songs. We can just do that up until David Smith's time. It's fine with me. She wears her sunglasses at night. Ooh, good one. That's a good one. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can. Down Under. I do like Hall & Oates. Hall & Oates is, where's Wayne this morning? Figures Wayne's not here the morning we're talking about Hall & Oates. That's his favorite group. Yeah, Hall & Oates may have had a hit or two, huh? And I'll tell you what, I really like Live from Daryl's House. Awesome. Anybody hadn't checked that out where he's jamming with artists, current artists, former older artists? I am. I don't know which one you refer to, Pato, but I'll say yes, I am. Prometheus says, I saw that VMI has an All-American punter. Well, he'll probably be used a lot on opening night. I do know that I know who the band Sheriff is, Geese, but I don't know their music very well. But I know who you're talking about. And that's my fault. It's on me. It's going to be the first thing that you see from a Broncos game when Courtland Sutton inevitably looks back at Bo Nix and goes, it's on me. I dropped that ball. I dropped it. From powdered nose frat boys that just changed Penn State's name to the Nittany Lions, I bet Papa Joe is looking down saying, what the hell? We never get out a legendary name back of the Nittany Lions. BDST is away. Oh, Tuxie, what's up? You got an Uncle Leroy story. After 15 beers, Uncle Leroy could do Killer White Snake on karaoke. But he went to jail for selling wheat cookies at the church bake sale. Oh, we love Tuxie. That's funny. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. I'll take that as a compliment. Please subscribe, everyone. I hope overconfidence doesn't bite Virginia. No, it won't. It will not. Got to figure out the triple option. That's what they're going to run the whole game. You know, like the military schools do. They had one song, When I'm With You. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll take the time to look that. I'll listen to that today on Spotify. I will, in your honor, Geese, I will call up a Sheriff song. By the way, speaking of Whitesnake, the here I go again. You know, he was dating Tawny Katane. Remember, she was sliding around on the front of the car in her white skirt. David Coverdale, right? David Coverdale, singer in Whitesnake. Oh, here we go. Now the professional door text line talking nothing but 80s song. Rick, who's the Who's the best artist of the 80s? Oh, my Lord. You know, Queen's my favorite band, but they're not an 80s band. The two greatest artists of the 80s are Michael Jackson and Prince. If you're going to pin me to the wall, it's Michael Jackson and Prince. Prince, pound for pound, might be the greatest artist, musical artist of my lifetime. And I will fight you. We have Generation Zers going, who's Prince? Was he the guy that wore the purple stuff? I don't know what any of that means, Mert, but you're welcome anyway. Thank you, Pato. That's okay. We don't mind. We don't mind at all. Yes, for me, Prince and Michael Jackson. You can't think of one without the other. And I don't want to label them 80s artists. They were just artists who peaked in the 80s commercially. There's a difference. 80s artists are the Thompson Twins. Duran Duran. People of that ilk. Sinbad O'Connor. Yes, Sinead O'Connor. She had the one song that Prince wrote, by the way. Nothing Compares to You is a Prince song. I like his version better. Prince wrote a lot of songs. Manic Monday for the Bangles. Of course, he was having a relationship with, who sang My Baby Takes the Morning Train and Sugar Walls? What was her name? What's up, Amber? Sheena Easton. Prince, in my opinion, Opal, Prince was the best halftime show of all time. It was raining, and he said, I've got no dams to give. We're doing it. Let's do it. I don't know. Let me look, Prometheus. I don't want to be wrong on that. Let me look. You might be right. Is Clemson next Thursday? Ooh, that would be cool. No, it's September the 5th. Clemson and LSU. Yeah, that makes sense. It's going to be a Saturday night game. Yeah. September 5th for Clemson and LSU. Yeah, Duran Duran. Her name is Rio, and she dances. Where is Wayne? He's missing all the 80s stuff. Oh, he's going to kick himself. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294. Thanks to Jason Green, Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractic, 155 Walters Drive in Christiansburg. Let him go straighten out your spine. Sounds violent, doesn't it? Right now, there's some exhibitionists going, ooh, that sounds great. I'll be sure to wear my black leather. No, it's not that at all. We're presenting every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller. The bike race is coming up in September. We're trying to get Tim on here next week, talk more about that. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to Charles Lee. They're the best in the biz. Trust me, my house is either cool or hot because of them. BDSD fan question of the week. It's been a good one, brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford. Trust and estate planning. Ryan Price, the best. What's the best Super Bowl? We'll reveal it tomorrow. Send me a text message, 391-0788, or DM me. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of yours truly. And this program, thanks to Larry Ramsey. Purple rain while raining, iconic. Yes. Hey, what's up, Knicks fan? Congratulations once again. I just love saying, what is it? The New York Knickerbockers. I just love saying the whole thing. Chris Cornell, nothing compares to you is better. Yeah, it's better than Sinead O'Connor's. Am I from Japan? No, not. What's up, Grassus? Grassus? Good to see you. Please subscribe. Professional Door Incorporated up in Dublin. Travis Williams, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated 40 years. Sponsor of our text line, 391-0788, 674-0008. Sundown Electric, the best electrical company around. Wiring, whatever it might be. Your outlets, they're down in Elliston. Reach out to the Smith brothers. Great communication. And they're the best. We have a beautiful sunrise coming up here, and I won't be able to take a picture. Oh, my goodness gracious. Kind of an orange, pinkish. Looks like a rainbow sherbet. NRV Super Bowl, 543825525. Leagues are forming now. Hang on, I got a new flyer. I don't want to mess this up. Youth Bowling League starts September the 12th at 9:30 a.m. That'll be a Saturday morning before football. Get your kids over there. Ages 5 to 18, $12 per person per week. Friendly team competition, individual performance stats, end-of-season banquet, coaching available. 382-5525. Remember, though, good luck, kids, rolling a 186 like this guy. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. Manufactured parts for your home. And thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Thanks to the Montgomery County Chamber. They have their golf tournament set for September the 21st. Make sure you go and you hang out and get a team. I think it's $500 for a team of 4. Go get it done. Go get it done. What's up, Hummy? Since Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl, oh my God. Last year, I hear they will have Menudo perform this year. That backfired on the NFL, didn't it? Good God. That was just. Look, I know things are starting to get programmed television-wise, entertainment-wise, out of my demo. But just like that, and just like they're putting Pat McAfee on everything, I know that's a different demo. I think he's going to be oversaturated. Having Bad Bunny as the halftime and insisting on it, despite the fact what he said politically, that was not a good move by the NFL. Carolina, TCU, yeah. Gonna be exciting. I'll be watching, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, don't our UAB Blazers at September the 5th. Against Illinois. So we'll be pulling like heck for them and Todd Grantham. Yeah. Yep. We'll see how it goes for Bill Belichick. You think they're going to make sure that they have Jordan there with some kind of green outfit on? Could not wait to get over to Ireland. I wanted to saturate the air with strawberries. Jordan will have plenty of strawberry perfume on. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. Oh, yes, we also play a football game. You'll be tailgating at Ohio State and Texas. That is absolutely cool, Geese. You have to send us some images, man. Take some pictures and stuff. That's cool, man. I mean, you guys, you're going to LSU and Ohio State. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. David Smith joined us. We're going to break down some NFL stuff coming up. Andy Bitter's got the 10 things he thinks. 10 things that he thinks, a la Peter King. about Tech football so far. What is my favorite college football stadium? Well, to go to a game, it's Lane Stadium. I love Lane Stadium. Now, I mean, obviously, growing up around it and going to games for, what, $5, $10 growing up? Yeah. Because I haven't been to a lot of college football games elsewhere. I've been to Jordan Hare down at Auburn, been to the Rose Bowl, which is amazing. Been to Nebraska. I'm just trying to think where I've seen college football games. So for me, it's Lane Stadium. I think Lane Stadium is as cool and aesthetic to watch a college football game as there is. I really do. It's home, so I'm going to be biased toward home, right? Couldn't afford tickets for both, so I'm just tailgating at the Ohio State game. Well, maybe somebody will come by and say, "Hey, got 2 tickets here for a very cheap price." You know, they're not any good once the game starts. If you don't mind missing a little bit of the game, Geese, you can just hang out. Geese, I just looked it up because I wasn't sure. Nick Saban was born in Fairmont, West Virginia, and raised in the nearby town of, I'm not going to say it right, Monongah, West Virginia. I'm sorry, West Virginians, if that's wrong. Monongah. So that's where Nick Saban was born. Reetha says, I've been to quite a few college football stadiums. The energy in Lane is different. It's not even how it's developed into Sandman and all that. It's just cool the way it's set up. I think they've gotten all the extensions of it right, all the additions. Now, if you're there at night and you do have a big game in Sandman and all that, it makes it special. But I'm just sitting in the game, in the ballpark, watching a game. I think it's a great aesthetic. Just the viewing, the whole thing, and the fact that it's on that beautiful, beautiful grass. Man. And when you're growing up and you love football and you're a little kid, and you feel the crowd around you and you're watching the game, it's just like, wow, I'm at a college football game, It's just cool. It's cool. What is your favorite Prince song? There's not one. I mean, why don't you just ask me who my favorite child is? Most of the songs I like from Prince aren't necessarily the mainstream songs that were released. He has the depth of his albums are spectacular. So having just one, Geese went to Texas A&M in 2024. I couldn't hear for about 2 weeks after that. Yeah, Kyle Fields loud. It is. Andy Bitter, Todd Grantham, and Dwight Vick. Really? Wait a minute. Also, David Smith. Wow, what a program. We charge free admission, David Smith, for this type of array of amazingness. How are you, brother? Good morning.
My man, good morning. Good morning to you. Trying to get this sound to work. I am here now for free. Let's get it.
You sound great. Yeah, you look great and you sound great. So,
well, that's pretty good then. That's all I got. Especially to look great. I don't know, man. It's 6:30. It's 6:30, but it's all I got.
It's all you got. It's all you got. What's going on? So, well, let me ask you. I don't know if you've been tuning in any. We going off about 80s music. Who's your quintessential 80s artist?
So I was a DJ.
Yes, you were.
And so WVRU and the whole bit, and had my own DJing business at the height of the 80s. And so that was a big Whitney Houston run.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. I didn't bring up
That
Whitney,
was
yeah.
that whole album thing. But the real thing was hip hop was really big then. That was the Run DMC run.
Yeah.
That was the Houdini run. Freaks Come Out at Night.
Yeah.
All those guys. Salmon Concert, Curtis Blow. All that was happening. Fat Boys. So it was a lot of that happening. Dougie Fresh. So that was the group. Those were the groups that were coming up then. So at the height of it. So to pick one during the 80s, though, it was Michael Jackson and Prince.
Exactly.
Those were it.
That was my answer. That
was it. So and that it was them, and then everybody else fell in line. You know, that was the We Are the World that was happening during that time. If you remember that compilation, Lionel Richie was big during that time. If you're talking about 80s, and so, but Whitney Houston came on like a comet. In fact, I remember being at the bus stop. A lot of requests. Can you play Whitney Houston? It's like, bro, we just played it. And so, but it was so popular. It was like, no, not that one. Play the other one. Her whole album was really good. For those that know what an album even looks like, Rick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know,
the vinyl things. Yeah. The vinyl thing. So yeah, I got to get on your pop too. I'm finding that there's some room in your pop segment. I got to pop in there for no pun intended.
You need to pop in there. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it tonight. I haven't 100% decided, but I think I'm going to jump back on tonight and do it.
Yeah, I might have to get up in there and try to inform the younger peeps about the stuff that used to happen. So we need
let me know, and I'll send you an invite tonight. So
you got it. I'll see if I can make that happen. Yes, sir.
All right, let's get into it. We're kind of in that preseason game mode. Let's hope people don't get hurt mode. There's already been some pretty significant injuries, but Von Miller gets one last year going back to Texas. He wanted to be in Denver, but they couldn't make that work, so he's going to go to Dallas. What kind of impact can he have beyond locker room presence at this age, given, you know, his recent injury history? What do you think?
Well, you can probably answer that. Thanks for the tee up. If you had gotten him back, you would have loved having him because you know he's going to have to. He's someone you got to account for, Rick. You know, in the same way that the Rams are excited, or the people that are Rams fans are excited about the prospects of Aaron Donald coming back, they got to feel the same way about what Von Miller can do. Not in 80 plays in a game, but specialty situations. But interestingly enough, what I love about what Dallas is doing, and that sounds moronic in some ways. Love what Dallas is doing. And I know. Here's the thing. Old man Jerry has done some wonderful things on the back end of the Michael Parsons trade, which we all felt was a not great move. Because
no.
And Rick, not so much because of the Michael Parsons of it all, because he's always held people over a barrel when it comes to contract signing, is how are you going to make up for having him be gone? How are you going to be able to find it? And he's figured out some of it if these things come to pass.
Yeah.
They still got to happen. Quentin Williams getting him from the Jets and now signing him for over $100 million. They've solidified the defense, brought in the new defensive coordinator, Christian Park, I think is his name, and they're really excited about him. He's got an Eagles background, so you've got to feel good about that. So Von Miller, to me, a Texas guy, DeSoto, Texas, played at Texas A&M. We recognize he's a Hall of Famer. Rick, he had, I think, 8 or 9 sacks last year, interestingly enough. And I wouldn't have thought that until I actually heard it. And if you're Dallas, you got to feel like, at least from a standpoint of feeling good in the building, that you finally got some balance on the football team, that Dak may not feel like he's got to go get 42 points in the game, like that game against Russell Wilson early last year where they were just up and down the field. You score, no, I score, no, you score. And one of Russell Wilson's last great football games, as it turned out, since he's moved on to the CBS booth now. But if you're Dallas, I am bullish on the Cowboys. Interestingly enough, I think this move solidifies the fact that Jerry can say to his peeps, and he can also say to his football team, we've addressed our needs. We didn't go after the wow flashiness stuff. You know, we all remember back when he wanted Johnny Manziel back in the day, and his dad was like, "Pops, easy, easy now. I know the splash stuff gets you excited, but we need to go more offensive line," which was smarter for them back then. I think that was around 2012 or whatever. So shout out to Dallas. I love the move, and I really love the move that Von Miller wanted to be there, because Von Miller didn't have to go there and deal with a circus. I get the feeling he wanted to be able to be with somebody he thought could be a winner. Von's won a couple times, so he's been in the championship mindset. I'm happy for what Dallas has done on the defensive side of the ball to give them a little bit more balance. No question about it. Great move. Maybe frozen. Not sure you can hear me, brother.
All right. We are back. My apologies to everybody. It's not my fault, but we had a power blip here for about 15 seconds. But David Smith, you got me back? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You hear me all right?
Yeah. I heard everything stop and the lights went out. And then, of course, the internet went out. So we're back. We're back.
It's all good, man. Glad you're okay over there. I didn't know if it was something I said.
How dare you?
Okay, Dallas isn't going to be any good. I'm sorry.
How dare you compliment Jerry Jones?
Hey, come on. All right. I'm sorry. April Fools. Yeah.
All right. Jackson Dart. Yeah, he got hit a lot in the Giants preseason opener against the Vikings. He's even more conscious about trying to be healthier, but maybe that offensive line's not going to allow it. Huh?
Yeah. Well, Rick, here's the thing and watching over that play, I didn't see it live, and I saw some of his comments after it. he's concerned. Why did I have to go in the blue tent? Why are you singling me? I appreciate what they're trying to do. Jackson, you laid out on the field. You didn't get right back up. The NFL's not going to have on their watch a guy like you that had more blue tent arrivals last year than not. And then they ignore it and send you back out there and have you have a more serious situation happen. The NFL's not about that. The NFL was here before you. They'll be there after you. And they're going to be there with you. And so you just need to understand that's going to happen. And to his credit, the running back missed the block, totally whipped, wasn't even, acted like it wasn't him. It was a straight line blitz, Rick. That was kind of dangerous play for a preseason game. He unloaded on him. And so the interesting part about it is I don't have a problem with the league making sure a guy that has those level of concussions are watched more closely. I think about Tua a couple of years ago. Remember, Tua had that horrible concussion, stiffened up in the Cincinnati game on a Thursday night. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I paid a lot of attention to that. That was a scary moment. It ended up affecting his season a lot. There was people who were concerned about him ever playing again. If you remember, a lot of the talk shows said he should retire from football at that time, if you remember that. And so listen, they're going to err on the side of caution as far as that goes. And so Jackson Dart, the league did right by you. I would have been more bothered, Rick, if they had left him in the game and not checked on it. That would have been a whole lot worse for everybody concerned. Fortunately for him, it wasn't a head striking the turf issue. Luckily for him, it was fine. He's going to be okay. But you just get the sense that that's going to just continue to be part of what's going to happen. I think that the Giants, when I think about them, I look at Scatterboo, and interestingly enough, what's happened with Scatterboo, they just signed Najee Harris this week. So Najee Harris, because I got a sense that in listening to some reports that, Rick, he may not be totally back from that leg yet. There were some folks who thought he was kind of still limping around. It's a pretty brutal injury, Rick. You think about it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Well, running backs, I mean, you can't just have one anyway. And so to me, I find that that's going to be a real good move for them. As far as the Giants, but Rick, here's the funny part. I think the Giants are going to be a factor this year. They're going to be a real factor this year.
You like them.
I like them. I really do. I think Dart's just what they need. He's just edgy enough that I think that's exactly what Harbaugh doesn't mind, because they play to that strength. And then the Giants are a really big football team. All reports are they hadn't been the G-men of old. The Giants are giant this year. And so they're going to try to embark the Harbaugh way on them on the NFC East this year. It's going to be real interesting. As I just praised Dallas, we're going to find out real quick week one which of the two is going to be all right as they play each other week one to kick off the Sunday night season, if I'm not mistaken, on NBC.
Tua wasn't good against beloved Broncos, and they don't know what's going on with Michael Penix. Boy, could that organization have screwed up things even more than the new regime is going to be paying for the sins of the god-awful decisions of the former regime, and this looks like the Falcons are settling in to be a pretty bad franchise for a while. It's not really the fault of anybody there now.
Well, Rick, let's play this thing out for a second. So let's go back about 13, 14 months, probably more like 15 months ago. So you sign Kirk Cousins, and you feel like all your quarterback woes are handled. There's Kirk Cousins. He'll be a plug and play in Atlanta. He'll be just what they needed with all those weapons, Kyle Pitts and the Bijan Robinson, and on we go. And then the draft in April happens last year, and they muck it all up. Instead of adding pieces, some would say they muck it up. They draft Michael Penix. The moment it happened, I'm pretty sure you and I had a conversation about it to say, well, now you've got an issue. The moment that it doesn't go well, here comes Michael Penix. And it played out perfectly. Kirk had a couple of games that weren't great. Got to get Michael Penix in the game. Whenever you've got quarterback controversy, there's dissension potential in the locker room. Kirk Cousins probably wasn't thrilled with his role. He played like a professional. And so you ended up with two quarterbacks, and then Penix gets hurt at the end of last year. Now, all of a sudden, you're back in quarterback purgatory again. And then you pick up Tua in the offseason, and he goes out in the preseason game. And I'm not going to make a whole lot of it, but handle the snap. You're 3 of 5. And so, I mean, that doesn't mean that he can't go out and light it up. But this is what we do in preseason. Everything is magnified a million because we haven't seen any football. And so for us, anything we can grab onto becomes blown up. That's one series, probably runs 12 or 13 in a game. There was a lot of 3 and outs in the league, but it didn't look promising. Blitz protection stuff broke down. Tua wasn't trying to take a hit, so it looked like he was kind of gun shy in the pocket. But the bigger picture, Rick, is what you're saying. You've got two left-handed quarterbacks that are injury prone, that your franchise is attached to, and you got all these weapons that are just, can you imagine 50 routes a game you're running and you never get the ball or you don't get it on target? You come back to the huddle, and you play football, Rick. We're friends and we're teammates, and there's all this, that, and the other. But man, if I keep running down the field and I'm open, or it's look now, what do you want from me? Or
where's the ball? Where's the ball?
Or Rick, you played, or if you're a great defense and you keep stopping people, and the offense gives you 3 and outs, and you can't even finish a cup of water, as another example of where it can just build on you. I just remember Ray Lewis on those years when the offense wasn't great. His defense was having to carry the load. I'm sure there was a lot of side-eyeing going on when your quarterback's walking by and you're saying to yourself, man, I can't even get this water finished. Can y'all sustain the drive? So super early. We're not going to blow it up yet, but it's a watch out, Rick. If Atlanta can't get that figured out, it'll be another wasted season. And these seasons stack up quick for these guys. I think Kyle Pitts has already been in the league 4 or 5 years, if not longer. And Bijan Robinson's already got a deal. So he's been in there at least 3. So already these things start to stack up, and you really want to see Atlanta get it fixed while they can. Got everything in place except the quarterback. So we'll see.
Seahawks are trying to add offensive weapons. I'm not sure Stephon Diggs will be that. They added Arnold as well. Defense is good. Can they think Sam Darnold's going to put together back-to-back years?
Well, here's the thing. It's interesting enough, Trevion Diggs, Stephon's in Washington.
Trevion Diggs.
Which you obviously know. But the funny part about it is Trevion Diggs, a couple years ago, everybody would have wanted him. Rick had a fantastic run as a DB.
Missed the interception, right?
Oh, my God. He was getting them all, Rick. And then he had the ACL, and then he could not get healthy after he signed his $90-some million deal. Couldn't get healthy after that. And then he had the weird issue last year where he got hurt at home. And then Dallas didn't love how he didn't come in and do the rehab with them. And so it ended not great for them. And so Dallas cut bait. And then there's Seattle feeling like they can do the reclamation project there. Now, Mike McDaniel, their coach now is McDonald, is the kind of guy that can take folks in. I haven't watched much of Hard Knocks, but I've seen some of the clips of it. It is his show. He may look like he's not that kind of guy, but he is. It is his team. He doesn't care. He doesn't suffer fools lightly. So you've got him coming over. Terry and Arnold situation, the legal component of that is going to take precedent over that. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. If you ever read about what all that's about, Detroit did not decide that was worth it. And so he is now settled in Seattle as well. And so if they can get all this handled, Rick, you got to give Seattle credit for one thing. They are not happy with just getting one championship. They are not just sitting around going, this was our one and done. They feel pretty good about the fact that they can reload and do this thing. But they got no choice in that division. That NFC West, Arizona notwithstanding, is going to be a headbanger from the jump. And don't forget, they play a number 1 schedule this year as being the number 1 seed and being the Super Bowl champ. So with that being said, I don't hate the move. It's going to be real interesting to see, though, Rick, when you start adding these guys in, it's got a little baggage, it's got a little history, it's got some stuff, trying to get it to be cohesive, because if you remember Seattle last year, that was what they weren't. They didn't have drama. They didn't have nonsense. They didn't have anything. They were just about football, and shout out to them for getting that championship in the new coach's 2nd or 3rd year, I believe it was. So it's hard to believe that, Pete Carroll had that run, and all of a sudden Seattle's completely turned the page in that organization and has moved on to the second phase of it under the new regime. We'll see how this plays out. There's reason to keep an eye on this too. You talked about Atlanta keeping an eye on it. We'll see how this all plays out. Got a lot of personalities in there, and early in the season, Seattle's going to find out real quick if they can all mesh, and that's important.
And I don't know. We'll see about Sam Darnold. I like him, but I don't know. We'll see if he can do this again. We'll see.
Well, it's so funny you say that. It's so funny you say that, Rick, but you're not alone in that. Isn't it funny how when we feel a way about a quarterback, we just do. It's one of the most biased feeling things ever.
It is.
And you and I sit on these microphones yapping about Jalen Hurts. And every time someone gives a list of quarterbacks, he never hardly gets in the top 15. Never hardly ever gets in the top 15. And if you're him, you got to be saying, of course, it doesn't bother him to hear him talk about it. He's like, y'all can yap all you want. I got a Super Bowl ring. I should have had 2. I outplayed the guy twice. And my team's had an incredible record since I've been at the helm. Rate me wherever you want. But it's funny how Justin Herbert always gets top. Joe Burrow, they always end up in the top 5 because of what we think the quarterback position should be. So, but back to your Sam Darnold thing. I'm with you. I'm with you in understanding why. I get the feeling, though, he's had 2 back-to-back 14-3 seasons with 2 different teams.
He's a winner all of a sudden, yeah.
He's a winner all of a sudden. But, Rick, it also speaks to the fact that if you don't have the right coach, right infrastructure, you just can't do it. And I am a living, breathing Miami Dolphins fan of Dan Marino. Dan Marino got to 1 Super Bowl and lost it. And there's nobody that's a historian about the sport that wouldn't say he's top 10 that's ever played the game. But if you don't have it around you, you can't get through it. You just can't.
Yep. All right. The Steelers. Drew Allar played well last week. They got Will Howard. Who's going to win the backup role in Pittsburgh? Is it going to be the Penn State guy? What do you think?
Rick, it's a great question. Here's the funny thing. We talk about Aaron Rodgers a lot because he's Aaron Rodgers, right? But the funny part about it is, what do we know about old people in the NFL? They get hurt. They get hurt. They get hurt. And so I had a chance to take a look last week at some of the highlights and read on what Drew Aller. Did you see Drew Aller play last week? Rick, he was 10 of 13.
Yeah, I saw the highlights. Yeah, I did. He looked good.
Penn State guy, James Franklin guy, 10 of 13, 153 yards. Mason Rudolph, I'm reading this right now, 10 of 11, 93 yards. Will Howard, 7 of 9, 86 yards.
They were all good.
They're all good. Rick, 27 of 33, 313 yards, 2 TDs, no picks, a 128 rating. That's 3 backup quarterbacks in a preseason game. Consequently, Green Bay was 19 of 30 for 97 yards, and that's more typical of preseason. The funny part about it is the question for the Steelers is, are you going to keep 3 quarterbacks, or are you going to keep 4, or are you going to use one for trade bait? Mason Rudolph seems to be a guy that's a fixture in there, but Will Howard and Drew Aller are making it very difficult. Mike McCarthy is going to have some real tough decisions come August 30th around how he's going to position this thing because they're all playing pretty well. Maybe he can put 1 on the practice squad and keep 3 on the team. They all are playing pretty well. So if you're Pittsburgh, and we talk about this, Rick, all the time, you have better have the backup quarterback position buttoned up because it's not a matter of if, but when. It could just be a finger. And Aaron Rodgers isn't 22 years old. He's closer to 42. If I'm not mistaken, he's already 42. So, Rick, if I had to pick one now based on what I saw, I think Mason Rudolph would be definitely one of them. And the Drew Aller, Will Howard thing is just a matter of preference. But Drew Aller looked really good throwing the ball last week. And to your point about Grunkemeyer coming to Tech from Penn State, that you could see why people were bullish on Penn State last year when you had both of those guys as quarterbacks of the football team, right? And, of course, when Drew got hurt, Grunkemeyer stepped in and played fantastic. So both guys have been in the storm. Both have played high-level football. They both play Big Ten football. So these moments aren't gonna dwarf them too much. I can't guess it right now, Rick, but if you made me, I would probably say Drew over Will Howard, only because that's how he looked last week. We're going to find out more this week because I think both of them are going to be in the rotation as they play their second preseason game.
All right, let's jump ahead to the pick since we lost a few minutes here. So what are we looking at? What have you been – I know you've been looking at this now. I know you've been researching how you think things might be going here.
Well, I've been segueing this for most of the summer. I kind of knew who I wanted to be in the Super Bowl. So I had to build the whole playoffs to match that. And so the problem with it is, as I get more information this summer, has it moved me off my line or not? And right now it has not. So as we wrapped up last week, we had the playoffs. We had the Texans at the Bills in the AFC. That's a 4 out of 1. We had the 3 Bengals at the 2 Broncos. So heading to the AFC Championship, I've got the Bengals sliding into Denver and knocking off the Broncos. Maybe it's a slick field, Rick. Maybe it's just a bad call. We'll blame it on that. I got Joe Burrow, and interestingly enough, I think the Bengals are going to be a problem this year. Dexter Lawrence is there now. I just feel like if not now, when? So I got the Bengals slipping by your Broncos. Sorry, my guy. And I've got the Buffalo Bills. I know, man. I know. I mean, if I'm not on next week, guys, you'll understand. You'll understand. It won't be me. It won't be a power outage. It'll be a no invite deal. I got the Texans and the Bills. As much as I love D'Amico, I've got Buffalo being at home as a 1 seed, winning that game. So in the championship game in the AFC, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills for your AFC championship game. So, and in the NFC, Rick, we ended up with a situation where we had the 6 seed Seahawks at the Rams. So it's a little bit of a reverse from what it was last year. We had the 5 seed Cowboys at the Eagles. And so what I've got, Rick, is I've got the Dallas Cowboys, the 5 seed Dallas Cowboys winning their second road playoff game.
Oh, my goodness.
Knocking off the Eagles. So I've got the Dallas Cowboys in the championship game going against everybody's world favorite, the Rams. So I've got the Rams beating the Seahawks in a bit of a revenge game from last year's divisional round. So we've got your Cowboys at Rams, and we've got your Bengals at Bills. Those are the 2 matchups that I have. And then next week we will see who we will advance to the Super Bowl.
Boy, the Rams,
so what do you think of that?
Well, I know the Rams and Cowboys have some great traditional playoff games.
Yes, they have.
I know they've had some really fun matchups over the years. So that would be kind of cool, actually.
That would be kind of cool to see. Yeah, cool. And that game would be in LA in SoFi, where I think this is Super Bowl in SoFi this year. I think it is. I believe.
I think so.
I think it's there. And of course, the Bills with that brand new shiny stadium with what field, Rick? Grass. Grass. We'll host the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, and we'll have a lot of fun seeing what that turns out to be. So next week we will pick who will win the championship games and head to the Super Bowl. So there we go. That's all I got, brother, for you on the picks. That's it. NFL, we have come down.
You know what the NFL should do? If they're going to play in those stadiums, they should incorporate grass like they did for soccer. They should move it to grass fields inside the sofa. How about that? If you can play it in the stadium, let's put grass down like they did for soccer.
You know, Rick, that's a fantastic idea. You've shown you can do it, and so why not let that be for the Super Bowl, just for that game?
Just for the Super Bowl. Nobody wants the Super Bowl played on turf. Come on.
That's great. That's a great point. We don't have to watch Odell Beckham Jr. tear an ACL on a crossing route in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
On turf, to your point. Right. And it's so funny. I probably wasn't as adamant about it as I've become until you brought it more to my attention, and then hearing the players who've been talking about it forever. Because, Rick, you remember the turf of the 80s. I never played on any of that. That was really carpet on concrete. Yeah. It's actually gotten better, if you want to call it that, than it used to be. It used to be really like a rug. So shout out to you for that recommendation. Call Roger Goodell. Get that
right. I'll work on that. All right, brother. Yes, listen, stay safe. Great stuff as always, man. And we will holler at you. Yeah, and we'll holler.
See you next week.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. There you go. That's the best NFL correspondent in the business, right there, David Smith. Wayne goes, David, the Cowboys? We'll have to get into that next week with him. Cowboys, Rams. He's got the Bengals beating my Broncos. Ouch. Well, I mean, let's be honest. I don't have a lot of faith in the Broncos either. We'll see how it goes. Andy Bitter joins us next. I got to send him his invite here. Sorry, I keep apologizing for the little power blip. It's not my fault, but it was weird. Everything just kind of. And sometimes that happens in the warm months. Does that happen at y'all's house? Well, they could fix it. They need to make sure they bring grass in like they did for soccer. They didn't have any problem with those fields that they transferred in. If you're going to play the Super Bowl, make sure you put a nice surface out there. Super Bowl should always be on grass. I don't want to watch any more Super Bowls on turf. God almighty. The Browns building that new $1 billion stadium, putting turf down, and then bragging about it. Lack of self-awareness. But, even still, when we had the outage there, what did that take? 2 or 3 minutes to get back on, rebooted, and then here we are finishing up with David Smith. If I'd have been back in the old radio station days, as soon as something like that happened, I would be told I was day to day or week to week. We'll let you know when we get things up and running again. So we made it. Todd Grantham and Dwight Vick in just a little bit. There he is. He is Andy Bitter joining us from Texas Island. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing all right, and I got to get right into it, man. I love what you did with Peter King's 10 things you think about Virginia Tech football. Very well done.
People like that format. I mean, it's like the GOAT, Peter King, NFL writer back in the day, who said that like when I was coming up in sports writing, like that was the column that you had to read, and I'm like, it's just so perfect, so perfectly structured. And I don't know what made me think of that the other day. I'm like, I should try one of those. I used to write I used to write that for like my fantasy football league back in the day. Like I had nothing else going on in Danville, so I'm like, let's write this up. I mean, it's just such a perfect format. And I'm being honest, like I'm trying to think of ways that I can incorporate that during the year, with not necessarily just for the Hokies, but just like thoughts on college football nationally and the ACC. So you might see more of that this year.
Well, you want to get into it a little bit? You want to start? How do you want to do it? I can't remember how Peter did it. He just did random questions, right? Or did he number them? I can't remember if he numbered them or not. But either way,
I don't know. I have to go back and check. Maybe I can kind of forge my own path with how I do it too.
But so what were some of the things that stood out for you?
Well, I mean, it just kind of went down the position groups essentially. I think this is about the least pub I've ever seen on a quote unquote quarterback competition in my life. I mean, that kind of tells you that it's not really a competition in that spot. Now, maybe I'll be completely wrong and they start Bryce Baker and I'll be like, whoa, they did not see that coming. I kept a secret the whole time. But I'm actually kind of proud of Hokies fans for treating this maturely and not acting like this is a kind of like who's it gonna be against VMI. It's like everybody knows in this day and age you don't pay the quarterback 7 figures and that he doesn't start.
Correct.
Right? Like there's a money component to this too that you don't have to pretend about this stuff. I like the running back room. I think it's really deep. As deep of running back rooms they've had since Khalil Herbert, Raheem Blackshear were here at the same time. They never quite had that with Tootin. It was the Tootin show, and then Malachi Thomas was the backup. I think there's greater depth of talent there. I still think the offensive line is a huge question mark. I'm not breaking news on this. I think everybody knows that, but I think they're banking on so much improvement coming from guys that are coming back. Like I know they had Logan Howland, I know they added Justin Terry, but you're banking on Altuner and Ganem and Meadows and Cunningham really taking a step forward. So, we'll see. Those are guys that were okay last year at times, not great at others. So that's banking on internal improvement to be better there. And then defensively, I think, safety and linebacker concern me a little bit. Linebacker more from a depth standpoint. Gabe Williams and Antoine Santiago out right now. Those are 2 veteran guys that have been on the field before, at least a little bit. Gabe Williams has had his injuries in the past as well. But you suffer another injury there, and all of a sudden you're sort of in trouble. Safety, Tyson Flowers, great talker. And I kind of wonder how good he is on that back end. And then, we keep seeing him get burnt in practice, but he's also going up against Luke Reynolds every time. It's like, well, if you put other safeties up against Luke Reynolds, you might not look so great either. And Luke Reynolds made some great plays too. There's one where Flowers had pretty tight coverage on the sideline. It's just nice ball, nice catch, and got the foot down. So is that going to be constant? They're going to look for other people in the safety room to step up.
I think all that's fair. I really do. Very fair, to be honest with you. Did you get into the record at all? Did you get into talking about?
I said 7-5.
That's what I had.
I think they start 4-0. I have them losing to Pitt. I'm losing at Cal, then Clemson, SMU, Miami. I think they can beat Clemson on the road.
Yeah.
I think they're going to face, when they play Clemson, if I looked at the schedule right, Clemson plays Miami, then a bye week or off week, and then like Georgia Southern or something like that. So they have like 3 weeks before Virginia Tech to prepare for that game. And I wonder if this Vizina guy isn't up to snuff, if that's when they make the change to the young guy at quarterback.
That's a great point. Yeah, it's good speculation. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how they start the season. But Clemson does sort of have that run up to the game that if it was just a normal schedule week by week, I think I'd like that upset more. But they do have just sort of, they play Miami and then off week, sort of a cupcake game. And then it might be Georgia State. It might be somebody else. I can't remember exactly, but they have some lead up to it where they can prepare for the Hokies there. I just think Cal is a tough game across country. I was torn between whether picking them to lose to Pitt or Maryland, and I keep looking at Maryland, and I'm just not impressed. They just lost a defensive end who was really good last year. He's out for the season. I know they have other guys to step up, including a really stud freshman, but Mike Loxley does not impress me too much as a head coach, and I think Franklin sort of has his number. I think he's going to be extra motivated going up there to Maryland. And so I got 7-5 is about where I put them. I think that's still an incredible improvement from last year. It's a 4-game improvement. I think if the schedule gods ease up a little bit in the future and Tech continues to get the roster in the right shape, that this is a team that is definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah, there's no question. I had 7-5. I have them losing to Maryland, so I said I probably should have went 8-4, but we'll see. I don't know. It's such a desperate game for Loxley. That whole start for him. You could tell they wanted him out, and they looked at the numbers and said, well, we'll give him another chance. It just feels like.
Yeah, right. Whenever teams do that, I know. Wisconsin did that with Luke Fickell, and it's just like, really? Is this going to work? Didn't work with Brent Pry. Like, you give him that extra year beyond the year that you think you should have gotten rid of him. And just how many times does somebody pull out of that? I guess Jim Harbaugh did one time and ended up winning a national title. It seems rare that those instances end up going. It's like, we were completely wrong about this coach, and he turned it around. And I know, Frank Beamer famously did that at Virginia Tech, but that was a different time of college football.
Brandon asks, AB, is the talent in the wide receiver room a concern for you going into the season, the depth?
I think the proven production of a lot of the guys, once you get past Aiden Green and Quayshawn Brown, is. Now, that doesn't mean those guys can't do it. It's just that they haven't done it regularly.
Sure.
On the field. And I think, if you're a coach and a fan, that gives you concern. That said, I think there's a lot to like in that room. And there's, former blue chippers like, Keelan Adams and Chance Wiggins who are coming off injuries. Marlon Jackson, I think, will start in that group. He's been playing at Louisiana Tech, where they've just had this rotation of quarterbacks that you never really know what he's capable because of that. Takai Heath has had moments. He's also had injuries and some drops in there too. Luke Stewie sounds like he's doing things that's very good in camp. Tysier Denmark the same way. You hear his name pop up quite a bit. Snook Peterkin, we saw him take one to the house against UVA. It's the only reason they have the scoring streak still from last year was that, I think it was 57-yard touchdown that he had. Yeah. Davian Brown, Fat Rat, the freshman, that his name keeps popping up. It's just, a long list of guys beyond those top two that I know something about it, or I've heard a moment of clarity, or a moment where it's like, these guys are starting to figure it out here, that you wonder who's going to emerge from that pack and be a third and fourth and fifth guy. So yeah, it concerns me a little bit that you haven't seen them do that in the field yet, but guys jump out of nowhere in college football all the time. That's kind of what makes it fun, is you don't know, and somebody emerges and they produce. And I think that there's talent in that room. They just have to put it to work.
Agreed. It's got to come together. A lot of Tech fans are very optimistic it's going to come together very quickly. I see a lot of folks saying they're going to win their first 7 games. 7-0 start, baby.
Listen, they could. There's no Miami in the first 7 that says that, that's a brick wall that you're going to run into there. The problem is, I think of those first 7, I'd probably classify 4 of them, maybe 5 of them, as 50-50 games. Maybe 4 of them, because BC's in there. I think that they should definitely win BC. They should win VMI. They should win ODU. And if they don't, I think this team has bigger problems this year than I thought. But there's also Maryland, Pitt, at Cal, and Georgia Tech. And if you go, oh man, Virginia Tech is definitely, running the gauntlet there, winning all 4 of those. It's like, well, you're more optimistic than I am about things. And, even when we talk about Maryland, I mean, they haven't won a non-conference game against a non-power league team since West Virginia in 2017. So, we're sort of taking for granted that they're going to do something that they haven't in 9 years. And, this is where the program is. They have to make these, stair-step progressions before I start talking about a 7-0 start or something like that.
Agreed. How do you feel about the cohesion of the coaching staff? Have you gotten a vibe of how things are developing there? Because I'm very curious to see how these guys do in their new spots here at Tech.
Well, yeah, it's tough to tell before they've ever played a game.
I know.
Everybody's, lovey-dovey before. This is the perfect setup, and this is what we were hearing between Brad Glenn and Tyler Bowen and Joe Rudolph. And then after the first year or two, those guys were gone. So when you get into the operations of it and get into the heat of battle, I think that's when you find out. That's when some of these relationships are stress tested a little bit. You can see if they hold up. So we can say whatever we want in August. Nobody's lost a game. Nobody's played a game. Everything's hunky-dory, and perfect setup, and we really like how this works. Who knows? You get in the game, and all of a sudden they could be fighting on the sideline. You really need that. You really need that to figure out whether it works.
Anything surprise you in the AP poll? You mentioned Tech potentially could win at Clemson. They're left out of the AP top 25.
Yeah, they were 26th?
Yeah.
First time they've been unranked to start the year since 2011, which
wild.
Of course is when they started their run and dethroned the Hokies as the ACC champions and went on their run there. Not too much. I mean, there's incredible brand bias in the AP poll.
Always.
If Alabama or Ohio State were coming off a 15-0 national championship season, even if they lost the Heisman Trophy winner, do you think they'd be ranked 6th to start the next year like Indiana? I think UVA takes a step back. Still a team that won 11 games last year, returns quite a bit. They got 1 point. They got one single vote at 25th in that entire poll. That was a little surprising to me. I thought they might get a little bit more than that. I'd have to look at it more carefully. I think Miami at 7 maybe feels a little low relative to what they could accomplish. I think they're a pretty good team. But AP poll, like Iowa's always 24th or Missouri's always 25th. I don't know if that's what they are this year. I think Missouri is 25th.
That's true. They always are.
They always get slotted in there for some reason. And it's just like, it's almost just out of boredom. The voters are just like, what are we going to do? We're going to put this Missouri 25th.
Another SEC team. Let's do that.
And then all the SEC teams are like, we're beating ranked teams. It's like, Missouri's not even good. They're beating ranked teams. What are you talking about? Listen, it's just for fun and debate. That's what the AP poll has always been. I really dislike the people that are like, they've got to get rid of the poll. It's unfair and it's setting unfair expectations. Like, listen, they don't do the poll that counts, the college football rankings, until like week 8 or 9. They do exactly how everybody says. Like, let the season play out and then rank the teams. People that think that the AP poll has an effect on that are actually wrong. It's the reverse. When that CFP poll comes out, the AP poll sort of falls in line to what that is. And I think historically you've seen that. Right. So this is early. It's fun. It's often wrong, but that's part of the fun of the AP poll is that, you get things wrong. Texas was number 1 and Penn State number 2, and then they both fall out. And it's like, wow, what were we thinking? That's the wildness of college football. It can be up and down like that. And I like Ralph Russo. He's now at the Athletic. He used to run the AP poll when he was at the Associate Press. And he'd always have this spiel about it because people would rip on the AP poll. It's like the AP poll is the history of college football.
It is. It really is.
And it goes back far enough to just give you a story of each week what sort of people were thinking at that time. And I like that explanation. I think keeping that historical perspective and continuing to do it going forward is a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah, the AP poll used to decide who the champion was, right? Who'd they vote number 1? There's split polls by UPI and the AP poll. Wow.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Wasn't too long ago. They had a split national champion in 20 or 2004, right? USC and
Yeah.
who was it? Who won the?
Yeah, who was it? Yeah.
USC, whoever won
Yeah.
the regular one.
Yeah, Alabama. No, I don't remember.
I think it was before Alabama's run. It might have been Florida State or Oklahoma or something. I can't remember.
Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, maybe it's Oklahoma. And then 1990 was what?
Somebody will correct us in the comments.
Yeah, correct. They will. Georgia Tech and Colorado did it. What, 90? Was that 90? I think they did.
There was a Penn State, Nebraska year, right? Or Michigan, Nebraska year, right? 97, I think.
Yeah. Wayne asking, what's your thoughts on your Vikings this year, AB?
I must be just like a stupid fan because I'm like sort of bullish on the Kyler Murray experiment. What is wrong with me? Like I talk about Hokies fans being overly optimistic, and then I'm like, Kyler Murray, maybe it could happen.
Yeah.
Like, what an idiot! Like you're gonna fall for this. Listen, I had to suffer through a season of JJ McCarthy and worse last year. Carson Wentz started like 6 games, and he had one shoulder that was working the entire time. I've seen this offense operate with a competent quarterback. It really worked well with Kirk Cousins under Kevin O'Connell. It really worked well under Sam Darnold until the playoffs. That went pretty downhill. I don't know. I like Kyler's skills. I think he's a bump up from McCarthy last year, obviously, and you've got these weapons on this team with Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson. I think you put a quarterback that can make some plays in there that's got a little bit of sense to him more than a rookie like McCarthy or a young guy, and I think they can do some things. That defense last year was salty. I know they lost some guys, but they're in a really tough division with the Packers, Lions, and Bears. Might be the toughest division in football, and everybody's picking them 4th. I'm like, that's just where we want to be. Pick us 4th. Nobody will see it coming this year. I don't know. You'll get to September, they'll be 0-4. I'm like, stupid Vikings. And they'll get Arch Manning if they stink enough.
Well, that's what Geese is asking right now. It's funny you said that. He goes, "What would you want your Vikings to get Arch Manning?" Yeah,
the Vikings never really bottom out. I think they've picked in like the top 5 like once or twice in my lifetime. I think they're sort of like the Steelers in that sense. Only the Steelers actually win Super Bowls every now and then. The Vikings never do. They never even get to it. They've never gotten to one in my lifetime. But they're never just like completely the franchise bottoms out number 1 pick type team. I think they picked 3rd before since I've been alive. But yeah, they never had that. We're going to get the top quarterback on the board. They always end up drafting Christian Ponder or JJ McCarthy 10th. And then he stinks that sets the franchise back, and they have to sign a veteran quarterback to plug that hole.
That's true. The last Super Bowl was the Raiders, correct? Was that Super Bowl 13, 14? Yeah, whatever that was.
Again, it was before I was alive. So
wow.
I was born in 79, and they had lost 4 Super Bowls before I was alive. And they've lost 4, possibly 5 NFC Championship games since then. I think it's 5.
Yeah. Well,
many in brutal fashion.
Many in brutal fashion. Yeah.
The Gary Anderson missed kick. The Brett Favre throwing across his body for a pick. They've been blown out a couple times in those games. The strike season where they played the Redskins and Darren Nelson gets caught at the goal line. That was my first Vikings memory, and it sticks with you, and you carry it with you. But that is sports fan.
You do. Yeah, absolutely. Well, good stuff, man. What are you going to be focused on coming up for people who are checking out your stuff at Tech Sideline?
Well, a couple more practices on Friday. I think the following Tuesday. We'll see if they start to come out with some clarity about starting quarterback, when they're going to name Gronkmeyer. Franklin says they will release a depth chart at some point. I imagine that'll be week 1 before the VMI opener. So I wouldn't expect that yet, but they got to start paring things down. The game plan has got to start to go in here. I know it's VMI for the opener, but you still have to put a first unit out there. So I imagine they will be getting closer to do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff as always, man. Appreciate you, man. Great stuff. And I love I think you got to keep doing that from time. That 10 things, that was good. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I'm thinking about how to put it in there. So look for that this fall somehow.
Somehow,
some way.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter King would be proud.
Or he'll be litigious and be like, "Don't use my idea."
He'll show up when you're
one way or the other. We'll see how it goes.
You're summoned. Oh, guess I won't be doing that anymore.
It's not the first time I've been sued in a media setting. So.
All right, man. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Take care. There you go. Eddie Bitter joining us on the program. The Browns have succeeded so much in getting top picks. Todd Grantham scheduled to join us in Dwight Vick. Yeah, Randy Moss. What he had Randall Cunningham and Dante Culpepper, right? That was his two quarterbacks in Minnesota. I remember the Thanksgiving Day game against the Cowboys. What do you have, like 3 or 4 touchdowns in that game? I think that was Cunningham. Good stuff, man. Good stuff from AV. You have been served. Yeah, the Falcons went to the Super Bowl that year and got absolutely destroyed by my beloved Denver Broncos. I was traveling back with Bonnie Hendrickson and the Virginia Tech women's basketball team. We played in Dayton. That was the old A-10 days. And Bonnie was an avid Minnesota Vikings fan, and she knew I was an avid Denver Broncos fan. So we played Dayton. I want to say we won in overtime. It was a close game. And she was all about me getting to the airport so I could sit and watch as much of the game as I could in the airport. And I remember for some reason our plane was ready to go quicker. So as soon as I got ready to watch a little bit of the game, I was on the plane. So we got back. I don't know what time of night it was. It was about 9, 10 o'clock. And I was trying to go. I was recording the game back home when the old VCR had not heard, we didn't have social media. We didn't have, I don't know if we even had Twitter. Maybe we did. I don't know. And I just remember as we got off the plane and we're walking from the terminal in Roanoke, getting on the bus to head back to Blacksburg, I just remember the bus driver, he was on the phone, and I just remember him saying something like, "Yeah, Broncos really kicked their ass." True story. I'm going, so you're happy, but then you're like, I had gone this long without knowing the final score or knowing how they did. So then I got home, immediately watched the tape of the game. But I'll never forget Coach Hendrickson making sure I had an opportunity that she was the best. She was the best. One of my all-time favorite people that I've ever met in this broadcasting business, Bonnie Hendrickson. And by the way, one of the best head coaches to this day. She deserved a much better fate in Blacksburg. One of Jim Weaver's biggest missteps was not taking care of Bonnie Hendrickson. But I digress. I know the Big Ten won the last 3, but don't forget the SEC won 14 and 19. They did, but they've always been, hey, we're in the moment, the SEC, right? What's going on right here in front of us? So they can't go back on it now. It's the Big Ten right now. We'll see if the Big Ten makes it 4 in a row. That would be something. We're always going to be shocked by somebody who ends up having a year that we didn't see. Always. Indiana 2 years ago. Heck, even Indiana last year. Is it somebody else from that league? Is it somebody from the SEC we're not focused on? Somebody from the ACC? Could they swell up and surprise? You just don't know. That's what's so great about it. There's always somebody who ends up, you look up and you're midway through the season and they're 6-0. And you're like, where did that come from? Yeah, won't be UCLA. They'll be much better. The program will be healthier with Bob Chesney, but that's going to take some time out there now. That's going to take a little bit of time. Yeah, me too, Prometheus. Me too. The AP vote, yeah. Coaches are always going to be a little biased. Yeah, Bonnie is. I need to get her back on here. I need to get her on the show. She used to come on the show. She's out in California still. I think she's retired from coaching. I don't believe she's still at, let's see. Didn't Bonnie retire? Coach Bonnie, as she asked to be called. Yeah, I think she has retired. Good for her. Good for her. Yep. 158 wins at Virginia Tech, 7 post seasons. Sweet 16. Ran into Shamiqua Holesclaw in Tennessee on that day. But I got to sit down with Pat Summitt. What a great, great lady. God rest her soul. Pat Summitt, Hall of Fame coach. I'll never forget, we had practiced. Tech went first. We went first. Did my interviews, and I was getting my stuff to get out because Tennessee was coming on the floor. And Bonnie started talking to Pat, and they were, they had a lot of respect for each other. They had kind of run on recruiting circuits. They had run into each other. And I had asked Coach, I says, okay, so I can get you tomorrow before the game, right? I can get you for the interview. And whenever I said, Coach, it's an honor to meet you. Talked with, I can't remember the sports information director's name. Are we good for the interview? And she goes, heck, we're all at the same hotel. You want to just stay and watch practice, and we can just do it right after practice today. So I guess it was confident. She knew she had a really good team that was going to win the game, but she let the opposing radio guy sit there and watch Tennessee women's basketball practice, man. It was still one of the things that stand out. And sure enough, we got through. She walked right over. We had a little conversation. We did the interview while the ladies got ready to get back on the bus. It was awesome. It was awesome. Gary Wheat was the Tech SID, and he came back and got me and took me back to the hotel. Good memories, man. Good memories. All right. Always going to be some good memories in Birmingham, Alabama. Defensive coordinator of the Blazers, Todd Grantham, joins us. What's up, Coach? Good morning.
What's up, Rick? How you doing this morning?
Doing great. For some reason, I'm an idiot. I didn't bring it down, but thanks for the care package, man. I love the Blazers cap. That's awesome.
Yeah, no problem. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you can wear that on a few Saturdays when
I
we
will.
win a game and you can celebrate.
Oh, I'm having it on Illinois Saturday, baby.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah. Well, you'll be wearing that one on Thursday because we played that.
That's right, Thursday night. That's
right.
We
actually play 2 weeks from today.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Thursday night. You excited?
Yeah, it's getting there. This is week 3 of camp. It's been a good grind for us with the last hard 3 days. We go today, tomorrow, and then we finish with a scrimmage Saturday night. So it's ending well, and just get ready to roll.
Well, how's things going, man?
Good.
The excitement, the guys, heck, they showed it throughout the summer, just getting ready for practice. How have you guys been able to harness all that now to get
the guys have worked really hard. You know, it's been a pretty good stretch. You know, Saturday we had a scrimmage at the stadium because, you know, with new guys, new coaches, nobody had been there and played there. So we actually went to the stadium, did that whole routine. It was really hot. I mean, it was like we started at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it was probably by the middle of practice, it was probably about 105 as far as temperature goes, 105 degrees. And then at the stadium itself on the turf, it was probably about 120. And the guys really did a good job of fighting through that. And we because of that, we ended up adjusting our schedule a little bit. You know, it's always good to give guys, you know, 48 hours off. So we kind of adjusted our schedule and had meetings that night, but no walkthrough, just so you wouldn't have to sweat again. Okay. And then obviously they had Sunday off, which was already scheduled. And then we kind of got into a build up for this week, meaning we took the pads off, because whether you're in full pads or shells, as long as you got your pads on for the O-line, D-line, it's all the same, right? So we took the pads off and we wear these protective coverings, which we did in the National Football League, you know, all the time. And they're uppers, they're shells, and it forces guys to play with their hands and their feet and move. And we kind of take a little bit of a load off of them because of that, with the idea that, okay, we'll build them back up. Because, you know, Monday was a tough day, just coming off of a hard scrimmage like that. You know, the one, like each group, the ones and twos got roughly 50 plays. And yeah, we each got about 50 plays with about, and my whole philosophy, or our philosophy was to get about, you know, 30 to 35 plays of live tackling. And that's alive. And I always went back to my experiences in pro football, the way we did it. In other words, when we did it back in the 4-game stretch, when it was 4 preseason games, like the first game, the starters played like 10 plays and they were out. And then the second game, they played roughly, you know, a quarter and a half, like 20 to 25 plays. And then the third game, they played basically the whole first half, and they came out of the locker room, played the first series of the third quarter, and then they were done. And then in the fourth game, nobody played. So when you went back and looked at that, you ended up with about 60 to 65 live plays. So that's kind of what I took that we needed. So we ended up with about 35 live plays, you know, this past week. And then this week we'll probably get about 30. Okay. And then that'll give us roughly 60, 65 live snaps, you know, going into the first game. And then you got to go from there. So anyway, we kind of sold the guys on, hey, we're going to take the pads off. We got to show we can practice without pads. Cause I do think you gotta be able to practice without pads, move your feet, move your hands, and get some good work in, but take some physicality off of it as the season goes along, particularly at the end of the year. And I thought the practice was pretty good. And then yesterday or Tuesday was a hard day. I mean, that was, you know, a lot of situational stuff, you know, 2 minutes in the half, you know, third down, play fourth down, backed up, you know, red zone, more of the intermediate red zone. And then then we gave them Wednesday off. Okay. And what we did, because you kind of had an extra install day there, Tuesday night, we worked on an opponent we won't see for a while. And we kind of worked on them, which we'd worked on them in the summer. And then Wednesday, we went back to our install for training camp and did that. And today is another hard day. You know, we got some what we call fastball plays, meaning it's going to be tempo. That stuff's really for us. We got that. We got 2-point plays. We got low red zone. And then we got some short yardage stuff today. So that it'll end up being a pretty hard day today. And then tomorrow we'll back off of it a little bit with the idea that we're doing getting ready for the scrimmage. So we have a 2 minute at the end of the game scenario. Then we got all the last plays, like, you know, obvious, everybody understands the last play to need a touchdown. So we'll obviously do that. But then, you know, there's 10 seconds left. They need 8 yards for a field goal. So how do you defend that, or how do you play that? So, you know, the 2 plays, you know, the last plays are easy. and it's all different yardages, meaning, hey, midfield, what you calling, plus 30, what you calling, plus 10, plus 12, what you calling. So you have all of those, but then you go back and then, all right, they need a field goal. Okay. They need 8 yards. How we playing that? And we'll do all of that stuff right there tomorrow, a little bit lighter. And then we'll scrimmage on Saturday. And then the players will get another 2 days off because school starts on Monday. And with the idea that, it's always, anytime you go hard like that, it's always through science. It's really the 48 days. It's the 48 hours after your game. And then it's the 48 hours leading up to the game. That's really the most important time, from a nutrition, hydration standpoint, recovery standpoint. So Monday, what we'll do is we'll basically, school starts, we'll get a recovery lift in. We'll watch the tape of Saturday and make the corrections there, and then we'll do an install, and then we got 3 pretty short up-tempo practices next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with the idea maybe things that we feel like we need to work on, but we'll separate and we'll kind of go to more scout team mode for basically 20 minutes of the practice. We'll still get good on good. I think you always need good on good for the speed of the game and that kind of thing. So we'll do that. And then we'll go next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll give the players off Friday, and then Saturday actually starts our game week because we play on Thursday night. So it's coming fast. I mean, I think it's been a good camp. We've really tried to hone in with the guys, the mental toughness aspect of it. What breaks you, trying to, the game is like a 15-round fight. There's a lot of different ways to win a game, and you don't win it with the first possession. You don't lose it with the first possession. And the biggest thing is points per drive per se. And, we went through some games where, and we've showed them games where, hey, guys started out fast. The other team started out poorly halftime, and then it flipped in the second half. And at the end of the day, the team that started out poorly won. Now, obviously, you don't want to do that. But the whole gist of it is next play mentality, keep playing. And then, the team things we started talking about was, you got to run the ball, you got to stop the run. You got to protect the quarterback, you got to affect the quarterback. The turnover battle, if they get 1, we get 2. Because if you're +1, your chances of winning are like 80%. And then really just the grind, the grind. And we actually do every practice, the last period is fourth quarter, with the emphasis of, the fourth quarter, the stakes are higher. So your ability to hone in the fourth quarter and execute, you got to be at a higher level because the stakes are up. This is it. This is the game. Whatever's happened till now really doesn't matter per se in the essence of, if we're up 3, great. If we're down 3, we got to get a stop. So whatever happened. And then we've kind of got that mindset of the last period of the day is the fourth quarter to, increase the energy, make sure that guys are attention to detail, because that's how you win games. That's how you win close games, is your ability to execute in pressure situations. And we've tried to instill that on them. So, it's an ongoing process. I think the guys have really worked hard to do exactly what you tell them to do. And we just got to continue to get better and get ready to go play.
All right, so you're getting a ton of questions, as always, from people. First, Wayne in chat says, is Birmingham the hottest place that you've coached, pound for pound, or was Florida hotter when you were down there with the Gators?
I don't know. I think that they're both pretty hot. You know what I'm saying? They're both pretty hot. But I'll be honest, it was really hot on Saturday, more so just, when you have that turf and you have the building, the concrete and all that. I mean, it really ups the deal. But it was hot. They call it the swamp for a reason, okay? And you get those noonday games in Gainesville, they can get pretty hot too. So they both are pretty hot, and they both make me sweat. So anyway, we'll go with that.
Tommy asks, he says, Coach, do you think maybe you guys have a bit of an advantage going up against Illinois because of all the new players that you brought in? How much could they know about your roster and so forth with the new coaching staff?
I mean, they got new players too. So, I mean, that's all, I think at the end of the day, it's going to get down to execution. They're going to run their scheme. I mean, they're going to look at the things I've done in the past and know what we're going to do from a schematic standpoint. So really, it's going to get down to execution of the things that we do and playing for 4 quarters. So we'll have to see how it plays out.
Coach Rodney asks, is this Rodney Landers? No, it can't be Rodney. He would have told me. Rodney asks, Coach, are you pleased with your depth? Is your depth maybe a little bigger defensively than you thought? A little more feasible, bigger? I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're always working to create the depth. I do think that we've had a couple guys at a couple spots that have earned the right to be ready to play, because to me, you're always earning your reps. That's how you play. You earn your reps in practice. And based upon the way a couple guys have played in the front, particularly, I think that they put themselves in an ability to maybe rotate a little bit. So I think we're in a good spot. I do think that I don't think there's anybody in the country that's not worried about a guy or two, a certain guy or two go down, it creates an issue. And 1 or 2 plays matter. To give you an example, when I went to Mississippi State, they were 110th in defense. And we took the same players and we added Montez Sweat and John Abrams and went to 10th in the country. We went from 110th to 10th in the country. Scheme, whatever, you can talk about all that, but, players do matter. And, 1 or 2 players in certain positions can affect, the outcome a little bit. But we've worked hard to build that depth. We've also worked to be able to create packages relative to who's available to how we play. And, we're ready for the season. It'll be time to go here pretty soon. So we'll get to go showcase our stuff.
Christian asking about your front 7. How have you been pleased with those guys so far?
Yeah, I think we got some guys that got some flexibility. We've tried to create a little bit of depth by being able to move some guys around. I like our edge guys. We have some size inside that can anchor. And I think that's the key, is your ability to anchor inside. And then anytime you can generate pass rush, with 4 guys, that's a good thing. That doesn't make it, you have to blitz. Obviously you can blitz and we are going to blitz, but anytime you can have those guys that can affect the quarterback, I think that's a good thing. I also think that creating the depth through competition is a good thing because, defensive line is not that all positions aren't hard, but you spend a lot of energy rushing the passer. Okay. And you're always running to the ball, like, hey man, if the ball's away from me, I got to go. So what happens is you're going to play in cycles up front. Okay. When you get tired, you come out and other guys go. And you really got to keep those guys fresh, because when you're winning the game in the 4th quarter, the score dictates what the other team does. And if you're winning the game, they're going to throw the ball. And that's when you got to be able to finish with the rush. And based upon our depth and our people, we've tried to create some packages where we can get, as many of those guys in the game as possible to be able to affect the outcome in a positive way for us.
Brian asks, Coach, all the places you've been, especially in college, what is different about preparing for that first opponent of the year as opposed to week for week? Good question.
Well, I think, the particularly now with the portal is when you get for example, our first 2 games, okay, well, the first game, Illinois, yeah, they're a new team, but their coaches have been in place. So there's not going to be a lot of change schematically from what they do. Whereas in our second game, their coordinator's coming from a junior college, and there's not as much information available, on him. Now you got the games and things like that, but he's going to a whole new place, new players, first time there. So yeah, he has his system and what he's done. That's what he knows. But a lot of times your plays or your system is going to be based upon the players you have. So that becomes a little bit of a newness that you just got to be able to adjust to. So I think that when the coaches have been in place and there's been, stability with them and they've been there for a while, the players might change, but the schemes don't change a lot. And that's a little different than when someone's coming in new, like a guy becomes a first-time coordinator. Okay, well, what's his philosophy? A guy's coming from a junior college to hear what's his philosophy. How does that go with the head coach? You know what I'm saying? So I think those things become a little bit different as opposed to a guy that has been doing it for, say, 7 to 8 years.
Have you ever taken any team to Illinois before? Have you played up there before?
Yeah, I played there before. I played there when I was with Coach Saban at Michigan State, and we didn't start out that was the 15-round fight. We didn't start out very good, but then we finished it. So anyway, I got that was when we had a player. I won't say the player's name. Nick was into this, disciplined players. And being that you coach the defensive line, sometimes you always had some children that you had to guide a little bit.
Right.
And we were going to suspend this end for the first quarter, right? I said, all right, whatever. And so we suspended for the first quarter. And anyway, they got the ball. Well, like that, they started out hot. They're moving the ball. And then Nick to me, he goes, when are you going to put the player in the game? And I said, well, Coach, you suspended for the first quarter. And he goes, well, how many plays have we played? And I said, 15. He goes, well, hell, that's a quarter. Put him in. I go, okay. So we put him in the game. We put him in the game, and we ended up winning the game. So that kind of goes to how players affect the game. So we got our point across, and we got him in the game and got rolling, and then we got control of the game and then won it. But it started out kind of rough.
I love that too. I love that interaction there. Well, it's time. Let's go. That's a quarter. We're good.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, listen, great stuff. Great questions, peeps. That's great.
Yep.
So what time do you guys get started this morning?
Well, we practice. Well, we do all of our meetings and walkthroughs at night. So then in the morning, the players in the building at 7:30, and then they get taped and everything. And then, they'll have a leadership meeting around 8:40, and we get rolling around 9. And then we'll go from 9, for a couple hours. They'll get a break, and then we'll come back that afternoon with meetings on practice, watching practice. And then we'll do another install tonight, and then we go out and have another walkthrough. So we end up finishing around like 6:30, somewhere around there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, have another great day of practice, my friend. Keep them safe.
All right, buddy. Take care. See you.
All right, brother.
Bye-bye.
Great stuff.
Bye.
There you go. Great stuff there from Coach Grantham. We appreciate that. How about that? That was great. Hello, Dr. Laundry. Good to see you. Nick Saban. Wait a minute. Why isn't he playing? He's suspended for a quarter? Hell. How many plays? Get him in there. That's great. Good stuff. Dwight Vick joins us next, by the way. What a great show. Great peeps. You're not getting the type of anything anywhere else. I will say that. It has nothing to do with me, but you're not getting David Smith, Andy Bitter, Todd Grantham, Dwight Vick. You're not getting that kind of insight on the passion of this country, which is football, and getting that insight. And you can take things that Coach Grantham was talking about, and you want to know how things are going at Tech or at Ohio State. It's all very similar, how you're going about preparing and getting ready. That's what's so cool. Yes. Tim asked, he wants Tim, are you going to do a little wagering? You hit me up on the professional door text line. He wants the ACC point spreads. Here you go. On Saturday, August the 29th, North Carolina. Sorry. Against TCU. TCU just 7.5-point favorites. Virginia, 5.5-point favorites against NC State. Be a good game. Stanford, Hawaii, 5.5 for Stanford, minus 5.5. Florida State, 31.5 over New Mexico State. Wake Forest, 23.5 over Akron. Georgia Tech, 7-point favorites against Colorado. Friday the 4th. That's a lot of ACC games. Okay, Thursday, there's 2 games on the 3rd. Okay. Friday, September 4th, Miami at Stanford. The Canes right now 24.5-point favorites, but then again, Stanford has a game before that. And then on the 5th, you have the Tech game, which is 50.5. Syracuse 32.5 over New Hampshire. Pitt 16.5 over Miami, Ohio. Cincinnati just 7.5-point favorites over Boston College at home. Duke 9.5-point favorites over Tulane. LSU 9.5-point favorites against Clemson. UCLA, California, UCLA ACC game or team. Even. And then Sunday, September 6th, Mississippi at home, 6.5 points over Louisville. Ooh, that's a big game for the ACC in Louisville. Those will fluctuate some. So there you go. Wayne says Georgia Tech might be the surprise team. Yeah. Hey, look, Coach Key does a great job. How do you, it goes to the top position on the team. How do you replace Haynes King? Can that guy come in and fix it? All right, let me get the creed here. So you lose a guy like that. How do you replace that guy? Brent Key is very good. I agree with Wayne. That's a good thought. They're going to run the ball. They're going to be physical up front. They've got a really good offensive line. That's a good thought. They could be. Because I don't think you're going to look at Miami, SMU, Louisville necessarily, Clemson as a surprise, but Georgia Tech could be that team. I'll be right back. Okay. Love that dude. Yeah, I think we are. Somebody's just asking. I think I'm going to pop tonight. We'll do pop tonight. Yes. Could not do it last week. Won't be able to do it next week. Because we have a game. But yeah. And then we're not popping on Thursday night football night. Or I guess we could. We'll let peeps decide whether we're going to do that once games start going. Or when I'm available. So, but yeah, I think we'll go tonight. So if you want an invite, let me know. And we'll resume tonight. Could not do it last week. So we'll resume tonight. Yeah. Anybody else? I don't know. Somebody says anybody else that could surprise you in the ACC. Would you throw Tech in there? By the way, Wayne, I don't know where you were in the first 30 minutes of the show before David came on, but all we did was talk 80s music. Someone Geese even brought up Hall & Oates, and you were nowhere to be found. It's very disappointing. Very disappointing. It's never disappointing when we're joined by this next gentleman. He's the quintessential source for all things Tech football. Oh, look at the Blue Jays cap, the White Vic. What's up, DV?
What's going on? Good morning. Good morning.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Love the cap. That looks good. It looks good on you.
Yeah, I keep the hats, man. When you don't have as much hair, like I tell you, I rock the hats. But that's been the thing since the 90s. That's just my thing. I like people say, "Oh, you're a Blue Jays fan or you're a Yankee." No, I just like the hats. I mean,
You're right.
I've always thought baseball has the coolest hats. Baseball. I mean, I have a couple of hockey. Of course, I got Virginia Tech hats, but I always thought baseball, just the hat game was their thing. They really had that on lock.
Yeah, absolutely. No. And it used to be they just had one cap back in the day. When I was growing up, you got one cap of your team, and that was it.
Yeah, so they got the collaborations, and they got the ones with the colors, or yeah. I have a Virginia Tech, a vintage, based off of tragedy, unfortunately. But when the Yankees honored the Hokies after the shootings, I had the Virginia Tech collaboration Yankees cap in maroon, but it's been through a lot. I still have it, but I don't wear it. It's just old. I've had it for a long time. Yeah, I've had it for a long time.
Yeah, by the way, those of you that have asked, yes, Dwight and I will still be doing this, right, Dwight? Victory from the Tunnel. You and I can break down Tech every week. Great logo.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. Look at that guy coming at you. That guy coming at you, you don't got much of a chance right there. 57 right there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it'll be fun. That'll be fun. And who knows? We might have people stop by from time to time. We don't know yet. We just don't know.
Yeah.
So how you feeling, man? I mean, I know the answer. You're just waiting for the games to start. I know you're not paying much attention to what's going on, are you? Right? You just get tired. You just want the game. I get it.
Yeah, I'm not the Grinch who stole football. I'm not the I'm not the old man get off my lawn. I just get to a point where it just gets redundant. I mean, the speculation. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to break it down and talk about the matchups, but the beauty of it is we don't know, but the annoyance of it is we don't know, right? We don't know if the quarterback, the line, we don't know. Like, there'll be some pleasant surprises, and there'll be hopefully a few disappointments, and not a lot, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the one thing I will say is, I think the intriguing thing about this season is we really don't know how Franklin will handle Virginia Tech. We'll see eventually his tendencies and wins and his tendencies and losses, right? And hopefully it's not that many losses if you're a Tech fan. But I think it's tough because I think when we look at the ODU game, for example, we're basing that off what Fuentes and Pride's Virginia Tech teams did against ODU in the past. Well, Franklin may come out and hit them with an onside kick and get up 20 points real quickly. We don't know. I mean, Franklin, his teams have been successful and methodical. Maryland for me has been a litmus test. I'm looking to see how Virginia Tech does against them. But I mean, historically, Franklin's done well against them, Loxley, and he also is going into a neutral site game, in my opinion. I live in the D.C. area, and historically, I've been to 2 road games at Maryland. Back when my cousin Marcus was a quarterback, they were ranked 5th in the nation. Virginia Tech was, and Maryland was, really in for that game. They were hyped because the previous year, Virginia Tech in 2004 boat raced from 55-6 on a Thursday night game. And Tech was up there. The fans, basically took over Maryland Stadium. It was like a Virginia Tech home game because the D.C. area is a lot of Tech fans. And then I was up there for that game as well as the game where it was the whiteout when Nike gave Virginia Tech the special uniforms to wear because Under Armour did the blackout. And Tyrod and Ryan Williams went up there and just controlled them from the kickoff, right? It wasn't really a game. And so are we assuming because Virginia Tech has wet the bed so much that Maryland's going to be a tough game? I mean, I don't know. I think the one thing I've said consistently is I trust James Franklin and a few of his assistants, guys like Anthony Midget, but I do not trust Virginia Tech football right now because I do not know these players when the lights come on. I know what Jeffrey Overton Jr. can do. There's some kids like Sheldon, the safety, Sheldon Williams, Sheldon, I'm hype on. That's the Duke guy, Sheldon Williams. But there's some players that I know about that have shown flashes that I like, but as a team, as a unit, I don't trust them yet because they haven't performed in this situation. And I've been consistent on that. And I'm not looking for them to prove me right or wrong. I'm looking to see how they perform. And I think when it comes to, Miami here recently in the recent years, the last 2 years, especially last season, they've done very well. They perform well. They have talent, so you know what you're going to get. Most of these other teams on Virginia Tech's schedule, I don't know what to expect. And some of that's not just because of coaching and player personnel. Some of that is also because with the portal, every few years, you have new guys, new players. So it's great. I think, like I said, in a few weeks, we're going to get done with the speculation and the assuming and the guessing and the hypotheticals, and we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of, who handles this well, who does this well, how the O-line performs against blitz pickup, and how we do. I think that's the great thing about once the season gets going, we'll be done with all of that.
Is there a certain amount of games that you need to kind of know, okay, well, this is going to be another one of those years, or, hey, things are going to be different? How has that worked out in the past? Or have you known when you watch the first couple of series, you're going, it's the same old same again, and you've proven that, it's proven to be exactly what you thought it was going to be?
I've heard, I've seen, I saw 247 release their predictions. I know Andy and other guys have had their predictions: 7 wins, 6 wins, 8 wins. I think, my gut is saying 8 wins. I really don't know. I think, like, your question, typically when I look at any team, like I remember when I saw UVA last year, and I looked at their schedule, I looked at how they came out. They had a good win, and they had a tough loss to NC State. That actually was weird because it didn't count as a conference game. Yeah, but at that moment, I was stupid. I hate when the ACC does. I think that's the dumbest. So dumb. That is so the dumbest thing ever.
I agree.
Or at least top 5 dumbest things ever. But I thought I said UVA last year in my tweets. I said they're going to probably play for an ACC championship game, and people trolled me, and of course UVA fans. Yeah, and they didn't even believe me. But I said, looking at what they had, I liked the quarterback. I liked their line. I liked their schedule was favorable. And I felt like they were going to – and they proved me right. And they were very lucky and well-coached last year. They won several games by the skin of their teeth. The Florida State game, I knew they were going to win that game because history repeated itself. I knew the crowd was going to be great, and Florida State, I felt was open to a loss. And I think they caught lightning in a bottle. So, Virginia Tech can kind of mimic that, if the things go their way. I think a lot of people are kind of overplaying or overreacting to the schedule piece because they're like, oh, well, I definitely think SMU is going to be a tough place to play. Cal is a tricky game. Even Boston College, you go up there sleepwalking, you can find yourself in a dogfight. For me, I will know early on in the first 2, to your question, early on in the first 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, if Virginia Tech is a better improved team when they go out and they play against VMI, ODU, and even Maryland. If they come out and they're efficient and they're making plays, defensively is going to be huge for me because defensively the last few years, they have not been a very savvy or opportunistic defense. They haven't caused turnovers. They haven't been physical. There's been a lot of blown coverages. And please do not jump in my messages or my DMs and say, well, that's because we need more money or they needed more people. It was not about money. They were not well coached. We have a guy, Brennan Johnson, Lauren Johnson's son, who was buried on the depth chart. I kept calling for him to play. and he's from Highland Springs High School, and now he's at Wake Forest, and he led Wake Forest to 9 wins last year, including a road win against UVA, even though UVA's quarterback got injured, and also a road win at Virginia Tech. So 2 road wins against Virginia Tech last year, and Wake Forest won 9 games. And he couldn't make the starting lineup or even the rotation last year. 2 years ago at Virginia Tech. So to me, that's coaching. That's using your personnel. And that's not taking a shot at Cheetah, the defensive back coach, or anybody. It's just more so I will know how well Virginia Tech will do in which how they handle success as well as how they perform as far as their personnel groupings, getting the right guys on the field, and also being able to capitalize in the run game, getting turnovers, special teams. I had a tweet that really got a lot of attention a few days ago where I said, when are we going to start to see more playmakers at the return game? I've been posting and watching a lot of old games, and I was watching on YouTube while I was working here in my office, and it was the NC State game, and Virginia Tech found themselves down to Russell Wilson and company, and David Wilson set the tone, with a kickoff return. He also won a game that year against Georgia Tech in a really big matchup. Those old Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech games were crucial, and David Wilson broke that game open with a kickoff return, and he won the game essentially. And then you look back to guys like Greg Stroman, who was always a threat to take it to the house, Steve Sanders from the 93-92 teams, who was a great punt returner, Andre Davis, the great legendary wide receiver, the West Virginia game when Wayne Ward had the decapitation of the West Virginia defender. He came around and had that big run. We have not – the last one we really had was Lane, who's now with the Commanders, a.k.a. the Redskins.
Yeah.
He was a great returner, but we haven't had anybody in the return game like Eddie Royal, where I remember he had 2 punt returns against Clemson, and one was called back, maybe a third. He had maybe had 3, and you had Macho Harris that same game who had a 100-yard return for a kickoff touchdown. So we haven't had those kind of playmakers in the return game. Is that personnel? Is that recruiting? Is that guys being scared to make a play? Those were those hidden yardage, hidden scores that helped you win on the road when you had a threat to take it to the house. We just haven't seen that. So those are the things we say, what are you looking for? Because how many times have you had guys, not to take shots at my colleagues, but I have not heard anybody on your show or any other show or podcast talk about the kickoff and punt return game. Not to the length of – no, we don't talk about it, but that was – I'm not talking just beamer ball. I'm talking about as far as having somebody back there that was a threat. Even guys like Mike Emo. Mike Emo was a guy that took a kickoff, return to the house. J. Ron Hosley, the cornerback, was a guy that made plays. And even in our secondary, one thing that was really cool about Virginia Tech and the whole DBU legacy and mantra was that if you threw the ball up for grabs, or if you threw that ball recklessly, a Virginia Tech defensive back was going to take it to the house. D'Angelo Hall was another guy that not only could kill you with a pick six or a fumble takeaway, he also was a magnificent punt returner. And those are the things when you talk about Virginia Tech brand and football, I'd like to see more playmaking ability on defense. I think Virginia Tech is one of those teams over the years, over the 3+ decades, that made defense and secondary play really cool because it was also used as a weapon offensively, where we scored on defense a lot. Right now under Franklin, but prior to we were a bend but not break defense. And I think I give pushback to people that try to hype up today's players because the hype comes before the production. And you're not seeing, I don't care what they were rated. I like getting the recruits, but I am a show me guy. I'm not going to, now there's only a few I've hyped up before they got hyped up. Eddie Royal, I hyped up Greg Stroman. Of course, I hyped up this guy named Michael Vick. And of course, I've been hyping up Jeffrey Overton Jr. Now, I'm not saying I'm better than the guys doing this with the rankings and the ratings. What I'm saying is, if you hear me post or you see me post or you hear me talk about a guy, my credibility and my vision and being able to see this guy's going to be good has been proven to be very, very well stated. I've been right.
unmatched, to be honest with you. I don't think you've missed on any of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So when I hear about, this guy's going, like, I'm hearing a lot about this kid, and I think he's looking great. The kid, Fat Rat. My son, who was at Fort Union, heard about this kid. Like, he was like, oh, he's a playmaker. Like, he knows him. Like, he talks about how really good. I like that. I just need to see it happen this season and I need the coaches. Here's the catch. No pun intended. We need to see the coaches put these potential playmakers in the position to make plays schematically.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
No. Your point's well taken. And I think about that from time to time. It was such a staple of Coach Beamer's squads, what he put into it. And it almost became like a cliche when all these announcers still Beamer ball, but it changed how many games around you played in that you've watched since. How many just simple things like swapping field position or putting enough pressure on the punter where he shanks a kick. It's only a 20-yard punt. And you start a drive at the 40 instead of back inside your 20. You're right. It's so vital. And it's just kind of, it gets overlooked, doesn't it, by the pundits? Too much so. It really does.
Yeah, I know from the Barstool accounts to ESPN. Like, if you watch ESPN now, all they do is watch shows like yours that cover other programs locally and other guys like myself, and they take and they regurgitate and they repeat. There's no creativity or research.
100%.
They're not
100%.
doing their homework. So you'll have some sideline reporter or somebody on the show will talk about what to expect, and all they've done is go on their timeline and copy and pasted what Rick and Tech Sideline and Andy and all those guys say, and then they go. So that's why you don't really hear anything. This is why I stopped watching Game Day on Saturdays, because all it is Monday through Saturday recycled stories of what has been talked about throughout the week. There is no more innovation and creativity in that journalism. So that's why you haven't heard people talk about when's the last time Virginia Tech had a threat from the kickoff and punt return, because I do my research. And I'm not even a homer. I can tell you about Miami and NC State because I really do my research. And I've had friends that work for ESPN and other stations like them and Fox Sports, and they told me that, well, truthfully, those guys don't really have time to watch all the games. I can respect that, but to me, for $1 million or $7 million or
exactly,
figures, what kind of time do you have? I'm
exactly.
breaking down this stuff, and I'm working 60+ hours a week.
Exactly.
So
not making millions of dollars, right?
Yeah, I'm not making that much money. So what are y'all doing? So again, man, it's lazy journalism and it's lazy media work because people aren't really doing their due diligence. That's why I always joke and say nobody really knows. I mean, and then of course, you have my favorite kind of media people with the hot takes where they'll say, hey, watch out for this team because I feel like they can go all the way. This is why I laugh because, again, you can go back to last year. Nobody really had Duke and UVA playing for the ACC title. UVA was picked lower than Virginia Tech last year. And nobody had Duke going because the talk about Duke was, who was going to replace Cooper Flagg. They weren't even talking about Duke in football. It was about basketball. So, again, as much anticipation as this season has with the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the mid-majors, I think that's what makes this time of year so exciting for high school, college, and even pro sports. Nobody knows. I mean, I may troll and joke a little bit about different teams, but at the same time, nobody knows. I caught a little of Andy on your show today, and he was talking about the AP poll and what it used to be, the credibility it used to have years ago, and how UVA didn't get any votes. They got one, and Clemson wasn't ranked first time since 2011. That's actually when they took the ACC from Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech was going for back-to-back titles. I was in attendance in Charlotte when Clemson beat the brakes off us 30-8. And that was a major win for them. So Clemson not being ranked just shows the lack of respect for what Dabo's done down there. And whether it's him not using the portal or people are getting tired of his Chuck Golly, you know, all his little twang and everything like that. I just feel like you still got to respect Clemson. But at the same time, this just shows you and reminds everybody that college football and basketball, but we're talking football now, is a what have you done for me lately business. Yep. And Clemson created a standard for themselves, whether it was national championship, playoff, or bust. So people don't respect their 10, 9-win, 11-win seasons because what they've created is they're a prisoner of the expectations they created, you know, and that's what's happened to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has created mediocre, underachieving expectations. So when we're previewing them, we're not going to get them the benefit of the doubt over ODU because ODU came in Lane Stadium last year after that great entrance in a must-win game, and it was unacceptable. It was embarrassing. So part of predicting them this year to beat ODU is based off what Franklin can do, but Franklin doesn't wear any pads or a helmet. And he's the head coach. He doesn't call the offense. It's his offense, but he's not calling plays. Defensively, you know, the question you keep hearing from a lot of people that aren't using their bias is, do you trust Brent Pry's defense? For example, there's not anybody on, including me, that covers this team that can tell you what a Virginia Tech Brent Pry defense looked like. Do not 100%. Tell me about 100%. Penn State. Do not tell me how he was at Penn State because he had Michael Parsons and a lot of future NFL players. I want to know what he does as a coordinator at Virginia Tech, and that's why it's tough to predict. He's got talent. I will say this, defensively and offensively, guys do look the part. They are stronger. The weight room, the offseason was really good. I paid a close attention to that. I talked to my guys. Of course, Jared Ferguson, the assistant strength and conditioning coach, is my guy. And I know he knows what he's doing. And I know that they have put in the work. The players have really worked hard. So I feel good about that. And I do feel like Virginia Tech has the talent. I just want to see how well it's coached. I want to see how Pry does against, you know, third and long. Like, what kind of blitzes does he dial up? You know, that's the question marks. And Virginia Tech has a lot of question marks. You know, it's a new era, man. Like, we got new president, new AD, new head coach, new facilities. So hopefully there's new outcomes that resemble what success is supposed to look like in Blacksburg.
You make a great point, and it's my biggest concern going into the season is everything regarding Brent Pry and his defense. I don't know what his defense is supposed to look like in Blacksburg. I don't know what the identification of a good Brent Pry defense is. It never really made itself clear at all while he was the head coach. And everybody keeps going back to, oh, well, he had this success at Penn State. You hit it right on the head. He doesn't have the same type of depth or talent that he had at Penn State. He never will in Blacksburg. That's just the way it is. Penn State's one of those places. What does it look like? What is that philosophy, right? I don't know what it is here. We haven't seen it here. So
I think if I had to put a parlay on it or a little bet, I would bet that the way he went out and how hurt he was and how humiliated and humble he was, I would place money on the fact that he's going to come this year locked in. I feel like when a brother to you and James Franklin, you know, when he had the presser and got emotional and talked about how much their relationship meant to him and how he didn't take the job without pride, and then turned around and hired him, like, you know, never seen before. And you know, he hired him back, which I respect. That means he trusts him. I have to say that I would assume, which I do not like to do. I don't like to assume, but I would bet that Pry is going to do a great job because he's got to. He's hungry. You can't mess up again, right? And I think he took ownership. of it. You know, when he left Blacksburg and he, you know, he admitted he didn't get it done. He had to look in the mirror and he had to do some soul searching when he went away. And he went off the grid after he left Blacksburg. And anybody watching this or listening to this knows when life humbles you, you know, two things are going to happen. You're going to rise up and you're going to look yourself in the mirror and you're going to dust yourself off and you're going to, you know, become responsible and take advantage of an opportunity, or you're going to fold. And I think this could be a great story of redemption for him and Franklin. I've not talked to either one of them yet. I do plan on trying to get to a game, but even just from a distance, when, you know, I don't know what they've talked about, but I'm willing to bet that they both had a sit down. I mean, you talk about pride and his humility and what happened after the Vanderbilt and ODU losses. You think about how, you know, Franklin was trolled at Penn State. Oh, by the way, speaking of Penn State, oh man, the cocaine drama is insane.
It really is, isn't it? What's going
on?
Morris has been I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
I saw that and I was like, oh, is this AI? And I was like, they really had a real drug ring. And I mean, again, it's not funny. Drugs not funny, but I mean, the fact that Penn State had that is just, I'm just sorry. I thought Penn State, you know, every year, man, the media, there's always controversy going into a season. But, you know, back to my point, my ADHD got the best of me. But, you know, I am praying. I mean, there's no secret. I rock with Brent Pry. I know him. I've seen his rise. I was very excited and happy for him when he was killing it at Penn State as a defensive coordinator. And, you know, I can't thank him enough for mending those relationships in the state of Virginia with hundreds of high school football coaches, because it wasn't easy. What Fuente did to damage our reputation and relationships, Pry did a great job really repairing those. And I hated the fact that the rumors were out there about Pry's, you know, habits in Blacksburg and down. There were so many rumors about, you know, his issues. And I'm like, you know, why do we do that? Why do we come out with that stuff after somebody was let go? If you know something, speak on it now. Like,
correct.
I do that. I'm not, look, and it's not because of my size. I'm not afraid if something's going on to ask somebody in a presser, but I know it's tough for those guys covering the team because you don't want to damage a relationship or a connection. But if you know something, call it out. But, you know, as far as the football field is concerned, I'm really rooting for those guys to really prove the doubt is wrong, because as I've said to you every week, man, if you lose to ODU, if you lose badly at Maryland, if you lose to Maryland, if you only beat VMI, you know, 24-9, I mean, people gonna start talking, you know. And with the money involved in this, you know, it's very similar. I'm a movie guy. It's really similar to Remember the Titans when they told Coach Boone, aka Denzel Washington, the legendary actor, they were like, you can't lose. You know, you can't lose. Now, we're not talking about something as serious as integrating schools and all the different things. I mean, you know, I often say this is not that deep, but from a fan perspective, and I tell you fans, y'all been doing it to yourself with all the hype and everything and all the excitement, which I can't blame you, you're fans, but you have unrealistic expectations and realistic expectations. And somewhere in between, we're going to see what's going to happen in Blacksburg.
I've got multiple texts. What are you guys talking about with Penn State? There was about 12 to 15 students, right? They were busted. They were having a cocaine trafficking ring operation for years in fraternities off campus. So not directly tied to football, but it's kind of made its rounds around the football program. So
absolutely, man. Crazy. It's like it was all over my timeline. Of course, Tech fans are trolling because, you know, the Penn State and Tech fans have been going at it since Franklin hire. They've been trolling, but it's crazy, man. Like, I don't know, these kids today, I guess art imitates life. They thought, you know, if they can get away with it, you know, like, I don't know, but I don't know why people live like prison is a rumor.
and they're all. It's funny, and you're right. None of it's funny, but it is because they show all these guys have been arrested and they're and they've all got these suits on and they're all clean cut.
Yeah.
There you go. Don't judge a book by its cover, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know if they went to ChatGPT and thought they can get away with it. I don't know, man. I wouldn't want no parts of that. It ain't even about getting locked up. I'm not messing with that, man. But yeah, man. I saw him looking at all these guys. It looked like Revenge of the Nerds meets Donnie Brasco. It was just like, I was like, look at these guys, these dudes, man. I said, who are these dudes, man? They look like the guys that came in and they fixed your laptop. You know, it's just it was weird, man. Yes, or the guy that came to the McDonald's Chick-fil-A register with the keys and unlocked the register to make sure that in the beep, 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 beep. I don't know. It's just these are the guys selling cocaine.
I know. Meanwhile, he's got $1 million cocaine ring going on up there.
I mean, again. Yeah, I mean, I guess A for effort, but F for follow through. But I don't know, man. But yeah, that's what's going on, guys. It was Google it. If you go to Twitter or X or Google, it's gonna pop up. It's all over. Yeah,
it's all over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, man.
We're gonna be popping tonight. If we're gonna be popping tonight, if you want to come by, we're gonna be doing the show tonight.
So. Yeah. It's a lot going on. So my guy Derek Smith, the great left tackle that played at Virginia Tech, he's the O-line coach at Freedom South Riding here in Loudoun County.
Nice.
He's been there a few years now. He's got a scrimmage tonight at Osborne High School. It's supposed to be bad storms today, though. So even if I do swing by that, then my youngest daughter has a scrimmage, a volleyball game at Gainesville High School. So
sure,
I got all that going on tonight.
You got a lot going on tonight. No worries.
But you know me, man. If something ends early or something gets canceled, I'm gonna pop up. No pun intended. I'm gonna pop in. Yeah, I'm gonna pop in. I love that. I was mad we couldn't do it. I know you had to do some stuff. I enjoy those conversations, man. For those watching, man, even if you don't want to jump, just watch it. Check it out. When Al Mason gets going and those other coaches and players, it's former players like myself. I get so much. It's therapeutic. I get so many great, insightful conversations and meaningfulness out of it. It's really cool. It's really cool. You started that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just sit there and listen to you guys. It was like take a notebook, man. Oh, this is cool. This is good.
Man. Al Mason, man. God bless Al Mason. He is so energetic and so funny and so insightful. Another guy.
I know.
It's just really cool, man. Yeah. But
it is.
We get. I love those. And as far as just to put a bone to point with Tech, man, I am for the first time in a while really excited for this season because, in watching all the old tape and the videos I've been watching, there was from 2004 to 2010, Virginia Tech won 4 conference championships, and in 2011, as mentioned earlier, they played Clemson for another one. So if they had beaten Florida State in 2005 and if they had beaten Clemson, that would have been 6 conference championships. And even to be in that, and then the fall off has been so drastic. I know Fuente that one year, his first year, they lost to Clemson in a really great game. They had a chance to tie it up or they were going to go for 2. But since then, it's just been, really, really bad. Andy talked about not having that out-of-conference Power 4 win since 2017 against West Virginia. That really resonated with me this morning. That is really, really bad. That is really, really bad. And I think about all the men that have come through Lane Stadium in Blacksburg that helped put this program on the map. And then I think about all the men that have come here and taken money and used this as a Ponzi scheme to project themselves to another program.
Yep.
Sometimes I just want to get in my car and pull up on them and punch them in the face. But then I get
exactly. That's right.
My point is like, I just need these guys that are putting on these headsets to take this program seriously, to stop lying to us in these conferences and take ownership. That's why I respect Franklin right now, is because the way he talks and the way he feels about Tech sounds like he gets it. And I'm really excited about that. I hope it happens for him and his staff and the players, because I want these guys to really experience legacy. I want these guys in the locker room and on that team to understand The one thing about Virginia Tech, I'm gonna end with this, Rick. It's a program. If you love it right and you play for that program, it's gonna love you back forever. It's gonna love you back. When I go back to Tech, when I go to Christiansburg, Blacksburg, it still loves me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's why we say this is home, because when I go back, I played back in the day. I'm an OG. When I go back, I still get the love. If you love that place right, it's gonna love you back.
Yeah.
From the hills, the mountains, the sweet teas, it's gonna love you back. The bookstore, it's gonna love you back.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And so anyway, thanks for letting me talk my ish this morning.
No,
Thank you so
it's great.
much.
Great. Yeah, it's got to be sweet tea. I mean, I don't understand. Why do they even have tea that's not sweet if it's cold? Somebody explain that.
I don't know.
Right?
It's
right?
Called, to me, it's brown water. What
it's
we
brown
doing here?
water. What are we doing? 100%. This is why we are indeed brothers, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
yes.
Appreciate you, my guy. Yes.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good luck to your daughter tonight, man. Good luck to your daughter tonight.
Thank you. Yep. All right. Appreciate you, guys.
Take care, man. All right. It is. It's brown water. Thank you. Where was I? I was somewhere. We had a thing and like, why do we have tea? Don't get me started. Hey, you want some tea with no flavor in it? Yeah, let me get my 22 packets of Sweet and Low. All right. We're going to pop tonight. Maybe we can talk about tea tonight. 6:45, Big Dog Pop tonight. Thanks to all of our great guests. Man, I mean, that's an all-star lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, David Smith, Andy Bitter, Todd Grantham, Dwight Vick. You're welcome, America. Please subscribe, like all of our videos, share. We'll have some highlights from the show coming up. We'll see you tonight.